Chapter 9. The Spoiled, Sheltered Bum. Growing up, Joshua's father was very fond of the expression, "You're very generous with my money." Still, Joshua never asked his dad for a fancy bar mitzvah party with strobe lights, a smoke machine, accompanied with a twice-as-smoking, inhalable, Italian-looking, big-haired MC with the boobs to match. Nor did Joshua ever grow up demanding his working parents pay his tuition in full at a private, posh, liberal arts college off the sandy, pristine, deep blue, dreamy shores of Lake Michigan because he felt entitled to exploit his parents' combined $400K annual income for all it was worth. That's what younger brothers are for, who ask mom and dad for wedding money without getting married yet, to finance his restaurant in Colorado, to support his big shot lifestyle in order to keep his self-serving ego afloat. Reality is, though, growing up in the well-off suburb of Edgemont, New York, only 30 minutes north of Manhattan, while being shipped off to sleepaway camp in Kent, Connecticut, to bunk with even more well-off, spoiled rich kids from Yentabreath country in Long Island, who owned multiple tennis rackets and had California rolls and fancy tins of flavored popcorn, caramel always being the best, brought up by their parents during visiting day, didn't help counteract the perception of Joshua's blessed young man existence so far in life being pampered, spoiled from the start. Alright, so Joshua was never shipped off to military school like a young Donald J. Trump, or ever confused with the spoiled riding kid Eric from The Toy, who during his time back from military school asked Ned Beatty to rap the black man nighttime janitor, played by Richard Pryor, insisting, "Daddy told you to get me anything I wanted in your store." But it was impossible for Joshua to not feel lazy compared to his fellow bunkmates at sleepaway camp, who were all amazing sports star athletes that excelled in baseball, soccer, tennis, and basketball without looking overtly putsy ever. Chad, who could smack a tennis ball with his eyes closed with extreme topspin to the point where you threw out your vertebrae trying to land a racket on it as it roared over your head like a fucking Blue Angel during an air show in Stewart Airport. Mitch could dribble the soccer ball with both feet just as good. Harlan could go yard from a first pitch fastball from both sides of the plate. And Matt Plotkin could do the same while also putting on a pump fake clinic in the post if he wasn't burying more high arching jumpers from all corners of the court from way downtown during Color War, or winning inter-camp championships like a future Danny Shays in the making, with the sporty Jufro top to match. Still, Joshua was capable of showing heart, despite faking an ankle sprain injury one summer, because his fat ass reared on bacon, egg, and cheeses, jars of Oreo cookies, in addition to chicken cutlet sandwiches with Russian dressing, and non-stop servings of frozen pizza bagels, and slices with double cheese from Gennaro's, couldn't handle the grind of endless suicide drills without coughing up a lung. One year, during Color War, they reenacted the World Cup. Joshua played for Team Cameroon, proving, even back sometime in the late 80s, white privilege Jew boy camps were more inclusive than you think. One of the camp counselors, Lloyd from Australia, whose body was no temple either, looking like a slightly taller, balding Elton John on holiday, only in his early 20s, I'm assuming, even commended his scrappy, sly tackle, heavy hustle. Joshua, normally I watch you spend more time trying to swat away gnats in left field than trying to run down line drives heading your direction. Plus, I don't know who taught you table manners, because you eat cereal like a slurpy slob. Still, today, you've shown some actual hustle. You're no longer such a spoiled slob in my eyes, mate. Joshua replies, "Thanks, Lloyd. I always wanted to impress Elton John's zero-talent body double, who can't afford hair plugs yet." Joshua had rekindled a friendship with his bud Perry, who he had met while working as a production assistant on World's Wildest Police videos back in Manhattan, after bumping into him at a bookshop on Crosby Street in Soho, after he got let go as a well-paid editor for the LA Times during the recession post 9/11. Perry, being more than familiar with Joshua's severe lack of job stability, was still impressed by his impassioned work ethic involving his own writing passion projects he wasn't getting paid for yet, like his American Dad spec script, Death of an Astronaut, but the only astronaut who never made it to the moon after Obama pulled the plug on NASA, inspiring Perry to proclaim, "I've never met anybody more self-motivated than you are. If I wasn't getting paid to work, I would smoke weed all day, really." Perry was being modest, but complimentary, and a good friend, all at the same time. Joshua had no choice but to be self-motivated. Lenny Bruce had a showbiz Jewish mom who booked him club gigs. Don Rickles had a doting mother who supported his showbiz ambitions every step of the way. Joshua had a banker mother who didn't think enough of his creative abilities to make it as a writer or comedian, despite his ability to make her laugh constantly, without even trying. Perhaps his mom assigned too much value to her son's learning disabled status in elementary school, which prematurely branded him as a knock-kneed mental slowpoke with penmanship on par with a heroin addict dozing in and out of rehab. Joshua was always sensitive about his less than stellar handwriting, at times wishing he attended a Catholic private school growing up so the nuns could have smacked his handwriting into tip-top shape. Just to avoid the brutal exchanges on the subway heading back to Brooklyn, like the one time where some little Aussie kid next to him glances at his chicken scratch scroll in Joshua's notebook as he tries to develop more jokes about how if Joshua took PhDs at camp, he would have struck out a baseball at a more accelerated speed before he hears, "What language is that? What language is that? Hebrew?" Joshua fires back with, "Yeah, it's Hebrew, Schmendel. I write deli reviews for the Kosher Planet." At the same time, when his mom told her son at a restaurant in Park Slope one day she couldn't respect his decision to pursue a career in comedy, Joshua assumed she thought he can't write his name legibly after having 30 years of practice, but he thinks he's talented and funny enough to be a big deal comedy writer. Now that's hilarious. Now Joshua was a stay-at-home dad and a father of 3 for almost a whole decade, still working on his writing craft, writing pilots, spec scripts, books, blogs, endless jokes, recording hundreds of podcasts, commercial video scripts, and thousands upon thousands of jokes, with still no financial relief in sight. But Joshua's father was more old school. He didn't care for the term stay-at-home dad. He preferred the expression sheltered bum. But until Joshua became a financial provider for his family, bringing home more than Morningstar veggie bacon to make bomb BLTs on good old-fashioned country white with a dollop of homemade sage-infused mayo on top of diced olive oil bay cherry tomatoes with ample salt and pepper spreadage on top, he couldn't entirely disagree with the prognosis.